Hello everybody, I'm Patrick, and today we're going to be taking a look at Do You Even Lift the Game? Now, this is a game made by Mike Tornabin, who plays Dom Mazzetti of Bro Science Life. Love the channel, think he's a very funny, talented guy, but we're not critiquing his channel today, we're critiquing the game that he made. Now, the second he made his video advertising this game, I bought it outright, and the second it arrived at my house, I immediately got a group of friends together and we played a couple games with it. Now, before we go into my thoughts on the game itself, I do want to talk about the, presentation and everything of the game itself. I like it a lot. The box that it comes in is very thick and sturdy and durable, and it looks really sleek and nice as well. I especially like on the Do You Even Lift, the question mark is a bicep with a plate underneath it. I thought that was a really clever design choice. The cards themselves are very sleek, and the plastic on them is really well, so you could use these for a while and they won't get torn up or wrecked. So the quality of the actual physical product itself is really nice. I like it a lot, honestly. But that's just the physical aspects of the game itself. What about the actual game that you'll be playing? Well, I will say that when I played it with my friends, we did have a lot of fun with it. It was a really good time, honestly. That being said, this game is a very flash-in-the-pan style of fun. What do I mean by that? There's not a lot of replay value in this game, honestly. The reason for that being that there's not a lot of chance in this game. Most games that have a lot of replay value have a lot of chance, especially board games. Things like Monopoly, which the original premise of this game was based off of, have a large chance factor due to the dice rolls. Different people land on different spots, buy different properties, depending on what money they had at the time, which is due to the events leading up to it. They determine whether or not to buy that property, etc., etc. So every single game of Monopoly is different from the last one. Or even a card game, such as this one, only involving cards, like Cards Against Humanity. That game is also different every time, and the winner could be different every single time, because you could always do different card combinations with each other. The judge of the joke is different every time. Sense of humor varies from person to person, so what could be a landslide victory could be like, oh, well, either this person genuinely had a funny card, or it's up to interpretation that this person just happened to think that this was funnier. Do You Even Lift has very little chance in it. How it works is there's three types of cards. Do You Even Lift cards, strength cards, or gains cards, and life cards. You draw a Do You Even Lift card, you read it, it will either have a question about yourself, or it will present a physical challenge. If you meet the requirements on the card, you get rewarded with either gains or life. If you do not, then you lose gains or life accordingly. And the player with the most gains and life at the end wins. So really, there's only one type of card that kind of determines the game, and that's the Do You Even Lift cards. And honestly, they don't change too much of anything. For instance, one of the cards is, have you ever worn an elevation mask? Now, if you've ever worn an elevation mask ever, then you're always subject to the penalty of that card. You know, it doesn't say, have you worn one within the last month or week or so? If it did, that could change the answer from week to week. But because it's ever, as in your lifetime, there's not much variable to change to there. Because if you have, then you could never not. So you will always suffer the penalty to that card. You know, assuming you're playing honestly and by the rules and stuff. Another problem that this game has is a good percent of the cards don't call out individual players. They call out everyone as a whole. So, for instance, there's one card that straight up says, if you are the biggest player, everyone else gives you one of their gains. So if you play with the same group of people, you will always be the biggest player. So that card will always apply to you. And it's very similar to a lot of the cards that are in here, a lot of them. So literally the only variable that can change the game is playing it with different people. Whereas again, a game like Monopoly, you don't have to play it with different people for it to be a different result every time. It plays out differently literally every game you play. Do You Even Lift is the exact opposite. It plays out almost the exact same way every time, assuming you play it with the same people. Not to mention, a lot of the humor that comes from this game is from reading the flavor text on the card, which is really funny the first time, and even the second time. But after the third or fourth time, you're kind of like, okay, yeah, I get the joke. You know, you hear a joke so many times, it stops being funny. It's not even, again, like Cards Against Humanity, where the humor comes from the players, because it's up to them how they play the cards in correlation with each other. Again, here, only the Do You Even Lift cards have any sort of meaningful text on them. So you can't, like, mix and match them to see what different interpretations you get. Also, I feel like this goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. If you don't have any friends who are into fitness or into working out or anything like that, this game will not be fun to them. There is more than a few amount of physical challenges in here. So if you have like a board game night with your friends and you're the only fit one and you play this with them, you will have a huge advantage over them. Like it will not even be competitive. All that being said, I do think this is a good product. I did have my fun with it. Just keep in mind that there is very little to no replay value out of this, unless you literally only play it like once a year, and even then, you know, that might be pushing it a bit. But you know, if you got $35 to spend, I can think of worse things to spend your money on. Alright guys, well that's been my review. Let me know what you guys think about it down in the comments. I'm Patrick, and I'll see you next time.